Hi, everyone. Corrie here, coming into what should be your monthly update. And I hope there's something that comes of this. But I do have so many other things that are speaking to me today. And sorry, I'm just turning off the ringer on my phone. But the first thing is, and this is a conversation I had with my own fitness wellness coach last week when I showed her this card, and this card came from my deck, of my own deck. And this card was the universal light of love, Lumerian. And so as I'm feeling this love, this energy, and so sorry, the card was so far away. I know why I was holding it so far away from you, but this is the card. She is definitely one of the lighter cards in the deck. Not all cards are bright. There is a mutedness to the cards because there was an intention with the cards to be authentic, and that they weren't all designed to have the same tone, the same light, to look the same in even frequency. And so they are all arrived very differently. So the universal light of love, Lumerian, when this came, as I was talking to Cassie about this card, was I said to her, this was the very first card that was created. And I always thought it was going to be the first card in the deck. And it ended up being card number 43. So she's card number 43 in the deck. And why is she card number 43 and not number 1 where I thought she'd be? As much as I thought she'd be a number 1, she ended up being second last in the deck. And there is so much truth that has unfolded, or that unfolds from that experience. And, she's laid back, she's being held in love, she's being held by the angel wings, but she's naked, she's exposed, she's only wrapped in love. The only thing covering her is love. Everything else she has dropped. Everything else she has let go of. She's taken off all the mask, all the clothing, and she's at a state of peace. Like, her hands are back. She's surrendered. She says, our hands are not up to go, it's not in the surrender stage. It's in, I've just fallen into this. I've just fallen back into this place. And so here's the response to this. And it was, back when I started this journey before COVID, before all of those things that were happening, before the pandemic things, before all of those experiences, I was on track to, just being at all these places and doing all of these things. And during the whole shutdown of everything, life really truly took a turn for me. And I just remember having 3 different people that I was working with say it to me at one point, everything in the cards, everything that I see of the way that your natal chart, like your birth chart, everything is, you were supposed to have made it. You were supposed to have made it by now. You were supposed to be at this place where everything should have been published. Everything should have been done. You should be out there, and then all of a sudden something just came in and just sideswiped you. Like, everything just changed the projection of your life. And that's when that's where this energy of the card really comes in for me. And I want to really share this story today, And so this universal light of love is what I could tell as a story of disappointment, sadness, has actually turned into one of an absolute journey of love. And if I had made it then, I would have been that masked, whatever that made it is. I don't even know what that made it is. Don't even know what it is, but I would have been that version of myself who would have still been trying to, make up for, trying to still be enough in the world. So I would not have been me, would not have been authentic true self. So as these last few years have unfolded, here I am, still in line, still doing whatever is meant to be, but with an awareness that that whole belief system around making it to be the number one or to be in first place comes at some deep cost of self and having to be molded and created and formed into somebody you're not. And on this stage of the journey and where this card sits now, these cards are my deck of oracle cards. So they do speak of a lot of these are my truth. These are my journey. And as I look at this card and I look at where she is that she's really truly made peace with where she was, about where she could have been, what she could have done, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas of life, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But she's revealed. So I, as myself, as who I am today, has peeled back all of those layers, taken off all of those masks. I've released, healed, resolved, found my way to being lost and back home again, time and time again, to get to this very point where it doesn't matter anymore that I matter to anywhere else in the world, but to my truth and to God, to the divine, to the knowing that there is such a valuable self to be discovered. So who now walks into her destiny, into that divine destiny, is that version of self that was really truly put here to step into her own first place, to place myself as this self, with nothing other than this. This is who I am, without all of the fancy rigmaroles and without having to mold and be crafted and to be formed. That this is the alchemy of my life, of my journey, of how I've been able to let myself die while on earth. And what kind of sideswiped me was that arrival of the Chiron energy. And as the Chiron energy entered into Aries, I could feel that the unhealed healer. And so often people say, well, your energy is low. You need to be more upbeat. You need to be more lively in your lives. You need to be more this, more that. And I'm like, no, I don't need to be anything that makes you comfortable. I really don't. I don't have to give anything that is not authentic. Anything that doesn't feel like it's there. I don't have to try to force it to be. There is a real truth. And it's not created to sell. It's not created to be, put up on display, to be mulled over. It is to be honored as sacred, as something of a treasure. And that the only person going to put it in first place in that first place is going to be self. And so that choice and that decision. And so as I spent many years right now bathing, sometimes 3 and 4 times a day, going through this journey, being on this path and of realization, was coming to that point of really realizing in life what was going to be important to me. When I reach that point, that there's nothing missing, that there is nothing that I get there and feel like, oh, well, this is still not good enough. What more can I be? Because it's not good enough. Because it was the shadow that walked into position and into that place. And your shadow can never take your real, true first place in your life. It can never open the doors and the keys to your divine destiny. Only your truest of self can. Only that most authentic, most truest, most most beautiful self. And is beautiful weak? No. Does beautiful take away strength? No. Does beautiful take away power? No. Because the most beautiful thing that sometimes I see is the beauty of nature, and I know how powerful that is. And so, what is natural? What is organic? What comes into your life organically? What brings you to that place that is truly for yours, not one that is like she got that, I want that. Why not me? Why am I not there? And so now it's taken me this long to kind of have that response. So why is she second last? Because she's only second last because we're looking at the cards being up to 44, and that's an end. That's at the last of the line. But is it the last of the line, or is it the next in line? What is it? So how we view our placement, how we view where we are, how we see ourselves in the place in our own lives, is that we can see it from absolute desperation. We can do things from a desperate desire, or we can allow ourselves to have faith in the process of what is happening through us, for us, what is happening, what we say is happening to us. Why is this happening to me? Why did this happen now? And it didn't happen to me. It happened to myself. That wasn't my truth. It exposed to me, not to the world. It exposed to me that which was aesthetically pleasing, that which could conquer the world, that which appeared strong, that which appeared to be, larger than life, but yet was overshadowing some of the most valuable pieces of myself. And that willingness to, sell our soul, to sell the most beautiful pieces of ourselves, is negotiation. And what are we willing to negotiate off just to be there, just to get to that place? What is that place? What is that? And why is that? Why does that hold such weight? And why does it have such power and such, why do we place so much emphasis and focus upon it? Our gifts, that of who we are, were gifted to us for us. They were gifted to us, to step into who we are, to be the truest versions of ourselves. And so the one thing that has truly, that I can honestly say at this point in the game, that has truly awakened within myself, that I now know, is that of the essence of wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, it has to come with joy. It has to come with that feeling, that sensation inside of myself that feels like I'm alive. Because we can be just simply existing, as my first book said, more, we're here to more than just exist. And so what I realized was that even though it appeared as if I was living, I wasn't. I was just existing. I was just doing the things, answering the call, being that which is like, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I need to be it. Just because it makes other people happy, it doesn't mean it makes me happy. Just because it brings other people happiness in their lives, it doesn't mean that I am living my fullest maximum potential and my deepest of truths. And I really want to share this with you today, because it comes from such a heartfelt place, as this has been the hardest journey of my life, but the most rewarding journey of my life. It has cost me everything that I could afford to lose, to step into becoming everything that I look forward to knowing, everything that I look forward to discovering about myself, everything that I've never received, every place that I thought I needed to be, and I never got to be there. I can really truly see how the divine has been working on my behalf, how it has been placing me at those right places in life, how I've had to kind of learn that sense of evolution. And there's such a power. What do I do as a light worker? As a light worker and an energy healer and an intuitive and a mystic and a channel. You evolve. And so evolving those emotions, what do I do as a psychic medium? I talk to spirit. I talk to your spirit. Your human is often not going to be listening, but your spirit is, and your spirit is always going to be echoing back to you. And so this awareness, this knowing, this place, and this truth, and this love, and this evolution means that I have been able to access divine emotions. Emotions that we often don't even use in the scale to in the wheel to be able to explain ourselves. And so even when you are, you get a frustration or you get angry, it's an innate ability to take a stand for yourself, to be that energy, but it doesn't mean that I am away from joy. When I don't appear to be as large as life as people thought I should be or who they think I should be, it doesn't mean I am sad because it appears to be to somebody else. That's their own story. And they need me to be the character in that story. And here's where life changes. When you stop agreeing to be the character in somebody else's story and to take it on and to embody it within yourself, to believe it to be true, that's when you start to truly know who you are. That's when you start to discover something about yourself that you didn't know was even there. I try not to even be a character in my own stories anymore, other than the fact that I recognize that there is an awareness of leaving those paths that we walk, that path of shame, that path of guilt, that we're always trying to atone in some way. We're trying to find that sense of liberation and freedom, yet we don't have that knowing of freedom. We have the language, we have the definitions, we define that. But as long as there is something that holds us and guides us, that is the essence of the false self's ego, we're always going to be always in that waiting, no matter if you make it, no matter if you got that first place. So when I do arrive, when I am at that full place within myself, this is the key. There is a contentment, not complacent, not saying there's nothing more, but not limiting the possibilities of what the universe has for me, and what God has for me, and what God has for me to do upon this earth. What placement God has for me, where my next placement will be. That invocation, that place where you are meant to be. And so today I'm meant to be here. This is where I'm meant to be. And I'm meant to be right here in this place. Where you are is where you're meant to be. Why you're meant to be there, that's for you to discover. There is so much to learn about yourself, so much to discover about why you're there. But I do know that being alive as a living human being upon this earth, to be alive in all that I do, to feel alive, to feel the breath of the divine breathing into me as I teach or as I speak, as I stand on stage, no matter where I am, that my breath and the breath of the divine is breathing as one. And there's not a shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's not a doubt. There's not a fear. There's no looking back. There's no wondering if I said the right thing. There's no concerns of whether or not I pleased the right people, or if the right person's seen it or seen me, if somebody's going to pick me up, if somebody's going to, pick me up and give me this big contract. is that I have signed a new contract with myself and God and the divine, that I will stay in the energy and walk the path of divine dignity, that I stay true to that sense of my own integrity and be honest and completely, lovingly, truly committed to that self, that truest version of self. And every time I appear here, I always know that somebody will have a story of who they think I am or what they think I am. And the story they'll tell themselves is their story. And who they place me as the character in it, it's really none of my business, because it's for their story. It's so that they can create their story and tell their story. It's not for me. Why do I show up? Trust. Why do I appear? To do the things that I do? Because I answer the call. What is the objective? No idea. Love. A knowing, a trusting, a faith. I listen to the voice of God. And often it is, don't go there. Let that go. Leave that behind. You don't need to go there. You don't need to be there. And of course, if God triggers you, then that's your problem. That's for you to figure out. Call it Joe. Call it Henry. Call it Marie. Call it whatever you like. But why is it so easy to want to just shut it down, to close it off, to judge me for a word that you're responding to, because I don't have the same relationship with it, because I'm not in your story. You are. You are. And so when we get to the end of a story in a storybook and it says the end, it doesn't mean it's the end. It's the end of that story. There's a beginning of something new. So that story of, oh, you should have been here, whatever happened to you. No, that's ended. I'm right where I need to be. I'm right where I am meant to be. And the only person taking first place in my life now is me, is the truest version of myself. It is the most organic, is the most truest. It is that version of self that, as I like to say, I'm yet to know, but I'm happy to hang out with. I'm happy to be with. I don't have that thought that I don't like being in my own presence. I exist in my pain. I walk through my pain. I let myself feel every single experience that I am here to feel. And I'm not numbing it. I'm not avoiding it. I'm feeling it. I'm walking through it. I'm staying with myself to go through it, to just enter into it, to be present, to ask it what it needs to teach me. What is there for me to learn from this experience? I'm not running anymore. I'm not escaping. I'm not avoiding. I'm not doing those things. So because I have emotions, because I am no longer appearing as larger than life or stronger than anything, is now I'm available and I'm accessing new truths and learning the power of this divine emotions that are here, that belong to the ego of your truest of self, the ego that does all the right things for the right reasons in as humanly as possible, and releasing that which is not. And so this energy this month, especially in this week, especially in the beginning of this week, is really about the surrender of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. It's about the ending of trying to be enough, that I should read this book. I should read that book. If I read this, I'll learn this. If I read that, I'll learn that. I access the greatest wisdom. And when you allow yourself to sit in that silence long enough to access that wisdom, what is needed will arrive. What is of the highest good will appear. What is meant to be shall be. And all else shall either wait or dissipate. And there's such, as much as this journey has not been easy, there is such a beauty to this. There is such a beauty to this. And as that one card, which I don't know where I put it right now, as this one card, this universal light of love, this Lumerian, was an experience that began for me as a gold being who called himself the Lumerian master appeared to me in my bathtub. And as the Lumerian master appeared, it told me it would teach me everything that I need to learn the power of mastering, of awakening the master within, of bringing forth the master, the true master, the alchemy of entering into the existence of this master energy that we have, that we all have, that I am safe with me, that I can trust me, that I am so much more than I could ever imagine, that we could ever believe possible, that there's something greater, that there's just so many things that have just, that are just there. And as I sit in many circles with many councils in the spirit world and in the divine, as I sit with the holy realm and the ascendant masters, and as I sit with God, and I write through many messages to myself, the biggest message that comes forth for me in these last few days was, I've been so busy. We get so busy on our walk of shame and guilt and trying to make up for things that we don't realize that along the way, how it is beating us. And we think we're getting somewhere, but yet we've gotten nowhere. That it is beating us on a journey that when you look up, you realize you've gone nowhere. You've gotten nowhere. You've just been going around in the circle, eating your own tail, right? And it's because you're hungry for something. And that is where the darkness of us, our shadows come in. Whereas when we can look up and we stop and we get to the highest point, we can see above, we can look down, we can look back, we can see, and we can see where we have been, and we can look at our wounds and we can see what it has done to us. Do we really want to walk that path any further? Do we want to climb back down and finish trying to get around when there is the possibility of a new path and we can walk a new path? Well, this month, this week is truly about walking that path. It's about looking up, get high enough to release that shoulda, coulda, wouldas, that guilt story, that shame story, to stop chasing the tail of that hungry desire to prove, or to just still trying to make up for, or still trying to make it to that somewhere that is where you making it to, that you come home, that you can travel in so many other ways and so many other paths. And it really truly is that growth, that emotional and that spiritual growth, to evolve into a new sense of those emotions. Nobody gets to tell me how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what is happening within me, because nobody is that master. I am. And nobody gets to say, that's how you're feeling and you need to see that. I've already seen that feeling. I've already existed in that energy. This is where I am. And this is a place where I don't know if I have words for it yet, but it's something that I was not ready to even share the whole experience of this, or I'm not even ready to fully share all of it out. I know the reality of it. I know what it's doing for my life, and I know the changes. And the biggest thing goes all the way back to my programs, to more than existing. You got to do the foundation work. Your foundation has to be strong. It has to be strong. And that is the restoration of your own sense of integrity, and stepping back onto the path of dignity, of true dignity, of integrity, of a knowing that this is my divine self, and I will walk the path of the divine because there is light and love, and not those trying to take me down on that path of light and love. Steady. So today and each day of this month, I hope in some way that this message truly touches your heart, and that you realize you didn't really miss out on anything, that we maybe appear as if we're second last, but that's only because somebody pointed out that's where you are. What if you're one layer towards your best life? What if you're one step away from your most beautiful life? What if you're one next choice, one next move, one next thing away from living the life you couldn't even imagine living, the most beautiful of things? What if that's there? That's the magic. That's the wand. The what if if I just walk one more step? The what if I just go right instead of left? What if I just get off of this shame path? What if I get high enough to look further? What if I could see something in a whole different light? What if I look at people differently? What if I look at things in a different way? What if? What if? And I invite you to really sit with this. Get your journals out this month. You can join me on Friday, May the 5th, for an online guided meditation and a group collective reading. Bring your journals. You can join me there. Go to my website, go to CorrieThorne.com, and you can join me Friday as we go through this, as I do a full moon. I guide you through a full moon meditation and this lunar eclipse, as those intentions you may have been setting with the last eclipse, you may be coming full circle with those. But maybe it's time to really, truly step into recognizing something greater, something more is waiting, something more is there, and you can release the shoulda, coulda, wouldas and change it to, what if I'm just one step away, one breath away, one moment away? I love you all. Thank you for always being with me. Thank you for supporting this page. Thank you for staying till the end. Just to always say that. You may get bored in the beginning. You may not want to stay. Those who stay all the way to the end, thank you for staying to the end. Because at the end is where you'll always find, when you make the choice to stay to bring things all the way to the end, that's when you can see the beautiful transformation beginning. I love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.